So I'm CJ.
I'm Brendan.
I'm Brandon.
We're with A Sense of Gravity, and today we're talking with Nilsson of Scar Symmetry for Heavy Blog is Heavy over Pancakes at IHOP.
Okay, what can I get for you?
T-bone steak and eggs for me.
T-bone steak and eggs. How do you want your T-bone cooked?
Medium rare.
Medium rare. Okay, and your eggs?
Over easy.
Over easy. Perfect.
How's it been going for you so far?
I guess it's been, like, in a way, sort of same as previous years, with the exception that we're actually launching my signature guitar this year. Yeah. Like, we had the first prototype. We revealed that here for 2 years ago, but it never went into production for a bunch of different reasons. So now it's finally done. Yeah. So that's kind of exciting, as you could imagine. Yeah.
One of the things that's quite notable that Strandberg has made public is that it's quite inexpensive in contrast to some of the other models that they make. Can you?
Really
quite affordable. Can you tell us more about what led to that kind of decision and how they've got it down to that price point?
Well, what happened was that like a few years ago, when I got to know Strandberg, like what he first like. When we first started hanging out, he was like, I want to build a guitar for you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds okay, cool. Yeah, sure. And then he was like, what do you want? Like, you can have anything. Like, anything? Yeah, you can have anything. Don't worry about it. And I was like, can I have a swirl finish? Sure thing, we'll fix that. Can I have true temperament frets? Yeah, and then it led to him building the first prototype, and he really liked the ideas that I had, like the looks of it and everything. Mm-hmm. We have a pick art on it, which is, I think it's the only Strandberg, yeah. So he was like, I want to do a signature guitar. I want to do a production model of this. So then the first prototype was done, and he made some calculations. If we're gonna do it like this and produce it in the U.S., it was going to cost $4,000. Like.
A lot of people are going to buy it.
Yeah, and it's an amazing instrument, but then I started thinking, no one's gonna buy this, no one's gonna play it. It's cool, it's unique and everything, but who's the guitar gonna be for if it's gonna be a production model? It has to have some sort of audience. So I went home and thought about it, and I watched a lot of kids playing my solos on YouTube, and I'm like, there's a lot of young people playing my stuff, and that's the crowd that I would like to attract. So we went on a 2-year journey of checking out different factories, see what kind of design things that we could change without sacrificing quality and playability and all of that stuff. And we ended up with a factory in China, and they came up with an awesome swirl finish. It almost looks better than the first one we did.
Wow.
Yeah. We
different process to do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, labor is obviously much cheaper in China, and they can do everything in-house. When we started out, we were talking about doing it with one guy and doing the rest in the factory in the US, and have to ship things back and forth, and now they do everything in-house in the factory in China.
In terms of the overall feel and quality of the production, does it feel comparable to other Strandberg models that you played, including your original prototype?
Yeah, very, very much so. And from what I've heard, the quality of stuff generally that's been produced in Asia is way better now really than 10 years ago or so. So I almost feel bad for the more expensive Strandberg guitars, because this one is so good.
That's awesome.
So that makes the guitar very affordable at $1,250, with the swirl finish. We're also doing a red finish, a plain red, and we don't have an exact quote, but it might be even a little bit cheaper.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
With the true temperament frets, is it going to be much higher than that? Do you know what the quote is?
1995.
1995 with the true temperament frets.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yes.
I can't think of another guitar out there with true temperament frets that's anything less than that, actually.
Yeah. and actually, the model we have without the true temperament frets, it's got the Endor neck.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Strandberg patented the weird neck.
Super ergonomic.
Weird, but super awesome. It's got that neck, but it's slightly thinner than the other models. But to like keep the cost down, there's no like, carbon fiber reinforcements, so it's it's more like a regular neck with a regular truss rod. But the true temperament version is even thinner and with the reinforcements, so that it's actually a little bit more expensive neck,
really?
aside from the frets.
That's very cool.
So that's how we like decided to do that. But you don't think Trump can?
I was telling these guys.
Does he even stand a chance?
I mean, it depends where you go in the
When it
country.
really comes to it.
We live in a bubble in Seattle where no one thinks there's any chance. I was just in the south over the holidays, and I saw a lot of end cards of Donald Trump bumper stickers, and a lot of people over there are big Trump fans.
Guten Tag, America. The world are watching you. Please make good decision. Thank you.
Musically, what have you been up to lately? It's pretty. Your last album was awesome, and we were talking about how it felt like you put a lot of your own personal voice in this one, and there's more of yours.
Because I sing a lot on the album, so yeah.
And so you have an arc for at least I don't know how many other for the concept
Yeah, it's gonna be a trilogy.
trilogy.
Yeah.
Have you thought out the entire trilogy at this point, and you're just refining it at this point, or?
Yeah, we actually, when we started talking about doing a trilogy, our drummer who writes all the lyrics, he came up with like a synopsis for that is pretty like detailed what's gonna happen. So, and that was pretty cool because then like I had a storyline for the first album, so then I could write music to suit that, and since I knew what was going on in the later albums. Yes, please.
Nice. You were saying?
Wow. Yes. Yeah. Well, since we have everything like thought out, I also very early on had an idea for every album, like a general direction where the music was going. So for the first album, it turned out progressive and pretty melodic and atmospheric and all that stuff. And the next album, it's gonna be like the darkest and heaviest Scar Symmetry album. So yeah, so because we did it like this, I can like for each album I can like really go down that direction and like spread out in that and explore some stuff we haven't done before.
So how about for the third one? Stylistically, what did you have in mind so far?
It's too early to tell because it's gonna be so awesome.
How like interweaved have you been approaching like the writing of the music and the lyrics? Like, do you kind of write them simultaneously, or do you do the kind of typical metal thing where it's music and then lyrics?
Well, on previous albums, we've always written the music first, and the music and all the vocal arrangements, and then Henrik has written lyrics to it. But this time, since we had the synopsis, and he also had for each album, he's got like ideas for song titles and what the songs are going to be about. So yeah, so I sort of wrote a lot of the music like in the order that it was going to be on the album. So, and I knew what the songs was going to be about, even though I didn't have any actual lyrics. but it's like it gave me sort of a feel for what the tune was gonna be like. So
You kind of one right after another got the first 5 albums out.
oh yeah, like so that's that, and that was the reason why we started talking about doing something different instead of just writing another album. Like it felt like just like random thing to just keep putting out albums. And the first idea we had was to not do a trilogy of full-length albums, but do like EPs or something, like and put them out every 6 months. Just to like keep things interesting for me, you know, and for our audience as well. But then the record label was like, well, like we want to do full-length albums because that's their business models. That's what they're used to promoting and marketing that. So we were like, okay, well, that's cool too.
Yeah. You want to just narrate real quick what you got?
Buttermilk pancakes, T-bone steak, medium rare, of course, over easy eggs and hash browns.
All right. Check it out.
Oh
man.
yeah.
Can you do this in slow motion?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
We should have Chariots of Fire over this bit.
How do you balance Scar Symmetry with all the other projects you're involved with these days? I believe you're with The Absence, you're on the new Zierler album, if I'm pronouncing that right. And I feel like there's some... Oh yeah, Kaipa you're involved with as well.
Yeah, it's a struggle because as soon as I'm working on one project, I get so into it that like I forget everything else, and also I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I often end up working on stuff way longer than I, you know, need to sometimes. And also I've been doing a bit of recording and production work for other bands. I set up a little studio, so I do stuff like that because I enjoy it a lot, and you know, like to keep busy. But that's also like I take on to doing a mix, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this in 10 days, and then like 30 days later, like I'm still like putting some finishing touches to it. So that's actually like a real problem for me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is it? Do you think?
It's a horrible struggle. You don't know what it's like.
It's kind of a good problem to have at the same time, though.
Yeah, it is. But you know, if I'm doing a mix in 10 days and I ask to get paid this and that, and then I take 30 days, that's like 20 days without getting paid for something, and it's not like I can charge $1 million for something, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, is there anything you can tell us specifically about those projects that I mentioned, like what it's like to work with those guys, or how it's different than working on Scar Symmetry?
Well, the big difference is in that in Scar Symmetry, I've always been like one of the main songwriters, and nowadays I'm like the only guy writing the music and producing and stuff. So in Scar Symmetry, I'm like the main man. No, in all the other bands, I'm more like a side man, which is like a lot less pressure, which makes it kind of fun. Like it's got its different perks, and but like right now we're working on a new Kaipa album. So, and I'm writing the new Scar Symmetry album. Yeah. Also, there's like a couple of other projects that I'm involved with that's not official yet. So it's a bit tough to find time for everything, and like I feel like some of the stuff is gonna suffer, like it's gonna be put later in time. But what are you gonna do?
I seem to remember recalling that when you do guest solos, you like to have complicated challenges, like and that you've created complicated situations for yourself to make it more interesting. Can you tell us more about that process?
Well, the funny thing that about or the other thing that I like about doing guest solos is that I get to like play over stuff that I wouldn't think of myself. But unfortunately, a lot of the time, you know, people just send you something like Phrygian mode, you know, something super boring.
Yeah.
Then in those cases, I try to like I put keyboard pads on top and superimpose chord progressions on top of the boring riffs. Yeah,
Make it more-
I'm
make it
not
more
saying
interesting.
that like your riff was bad. Like if any one of you out there, so. But well, you know.
So I've noticed on Facebook that you post a lot about food. A lot of times, lots of food, and a lot of times also really good food. Maybe you could. We're like huge fans of just really good quality food, or sometimes just lots of food. But you know, maybe you could talk about your love of food, or
Well, I think it's a little bit the same. It pushes the same buttons within me. Like when I record and compose music, it's like a creative thing where it starts in my imagination what I want to do, like, and then I compose something, you know, and make it happen. So for me, it's like it's fulfilling the same things in me.
Is there a dish you made recently that you're very proud of?
I made some incredible lamb racks this summer. I got a sous vide machine.
Like one of the stick ones that you put in a pot, or like a thing that you, like a separate thing?
You take the lamb rack and you season it, and then you put it in a plastic bag that you you vacuum seal, and then you put it in a like a water tank that's with a controlled temperature, so you can put exactly what kind of temperature you want. So if you want the meat to be like medium rare, I think I put it in 54 Celsius, kept it there for 12 hours, and then like you're sure that it's gonna be that 54 degrees exactly everywhere in it, and then you put it on the grill, and you can just make sure that like it's crisp and nice on the outside, and then when you cut it, and you get like popsicles, you can almost like lick the meat off because it's so tender and moist.
Wow. So when you do release the next album, do you have any plans to tour it nationally, internationally, across the pond, anywhere?
Yeah, we're doing the Prog Power Festival in Atlanta in September, so hopefully we will have the album out before. It's always a bit of a struggle to finish things up in time because it takes so much time to record it, but that's right now that's the idea, and we're thinking about doing a tour around the festival.
Please do a tour around the festival, please.
Yes. Well, hopefully that's gonna happen. I mean, nowadays it's so expensive for a Swedish band to get over here and tour. Like the costs associated with touring is like, I mean, for us to come tour here, we lose money. Like it's impossible for us to earn money, even though like we could probably do a headline tour and get pretty decent fees, like with work visas, flights, and crew and transportations. Like it's up everything. It's just gonna be a labor of love.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing with the state of the industry right now. Yeah. How many people are in the band now? Is it 5 of you?
Well, right now it's only 4 of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like Jonas, who was also an original member, he quit a few years ago, and which is when I like took over the production and all the songwriting duties, and also our bass player left last year.
Oh.
So we had some couple of guys that has toured with us, and but we don't have any like official permanent replacements.
When you do live shows, because you know the album, last album was has a lot of kind of background elements and keyboard in there. Do you typically play with a backing track that's quite prominent in the mix?
Yeah, we always had all the keyboards on backing tracks. Like, I mean, I guess we could have a keyboard player, but that would still not, make up for the backing tracks, because like on the albums sometimes there's like just too many keyboard parts and it's all these different sounds so then to have one guy like do all of that, like, so, and then
Big task.
and have to deal with another asshole. Like, there's too many of us already.
So I guess our final question would be, how do you like your eggs?
Any style except omelette.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't take kindly to omelettes.
what did they ever do to you?
I don't know. They just like, maybe if you're really careful, so they don't become dry at all.
Sure.
But I just don't see the point of like whisking them up. And what did they ever do to you?
Okay.
You know?
That's fair. That's fair. So scrambling is probably offensive as well,
No, scrambling is nice. Yes.
if you can keep them soft.
Yes. And lots of butter.
Butter. That's a good recipe for good eggs. All right, so this has been an interview with the wonderful Per Nilsson of Scar Symmetry with Sense of Gravity and Heavy Plug is Heavy.
Yes, I was ecstatic about your questions.
That's excellent.
Excellent, yes. Wow. Okay, that was all for now. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.